I know a lot of you probably don't care about Call of Duty campaigns anymore, but as a longtime fan of the series, I've had some really good memories playing through the different story modes on the various difficulties and trying to beat my best times. Welcome to the channel, everybody. Jimmy or Chaos, and if you know anything about the COD campaigns, you know they can get absolutely ridiculous on higher difficulties. Today, we're going to give the campaign players some love. Today is going to be a video dedicated to what I think are the 10 hardest veteran missions in the COD campaign history. You let me know what you think the hardest campaign missions were, drop a like, and at number 10, loose ends in Modern Warfare 2, the original. This is the infamous mission where Shepard's betrayal comes to fruition at the very end, but in order to get to that betrayal, you have to fight through some of the most difficult gauntlets the OG Modern Warfare trilogy had to offer at the time. You're venturing through Makarov's safe house, the surrounding areas. You're fighting off his soldiers while trying to hold down the location so you can download all his secret intel. And then you need to deliver that intel to the evac site. The multiplayer map estate is based on this mission. It's kind of cool, but the mission itself, it's pretty hard. You have to hold down the location for what feels like eternity while constantly running out of ammo and equipment. And if you lose track of where enemies are spawning for 1 second, you can get killed by a random grenade or a shotgun blast, and then you have to do it all over again. And then once you finish securing the location, you have to fight your way back to the evac site, which is really difficult. And at the end of the day, it was all for nothing because Shepard's there and he betrays you, of course. It's a hard one. It's a good way to start today's list. At number 9, Heat in COD 4. Now, many of you probably remember this mission for the insane difficulty and the stop and go progression. It's pretty late in the campaign. The whole goal is to move around the hills near an enemy safe house, and you're getting hounded from all sides by heavily armed forces complete with tanks, rocket launchers, grenade spam. You don't exactly have much health on Veteran in COD 4, and in this mission, the sheer amount of nonsense that you have to keep track of is going to end up getting you killed over and over again. It's almost impossible to keep track of where everybody is and where every enemy fire is coming from, and there's even some sections where your only option is to sprint through open fields, and you just hope the game doesn't blow your head off in the process. Pushing from checkpoint to checkpoint was brutally difficult. It seems like every time you get really close to finishing the mission, you would get instantly killed and then never make it that far again, even though you did everything the exact same way. It was a frustrating mission. Definitely had to be here. At number 8, Liberation in COD World War II. This was definitely one of the most memorable missions in COD history, and if you were playing on one of the lower difficulties, there was a good chance it was actually your favorite mission in the game. But if you were on Veteran, this mission, it's a complete nightmare. Liberation is a mission that starts with you playing as an undercover French resistance member and you're infiltrating a German headquarters. So you have to memorize information about your fake identity. You have to pass a bunch of speech checks with NPCs before everything explodes and turns into an all-out battle for the area. On Veteran difficulty, the stealth undercover section is hard because the speech checks get really specific, and if you screw anything up or you don't react fast enough, it's game over. And then once the combat breaks out, you have to deal with a lack of resources. You got these dinky little weapons and a near instant time to kill that will completely destroy your progress. Now, I loved the mission the first time I played it, but guess what? I wasn't playing it on Veteran. At number 7, Blowtorch and Corkscrew in World at War. 2 words. 2 words. Smoke grenades. If you're not spamming smoke grenades in this mission, you will never beat it. Most of the mission has you fighting your way through open fields with very little cover while the enemy is off in the distance. Well, they're spamming grenades at you or instantly aimbotting your face off if you stand up for more than 2 seconds. The strat here, throw a smoke grenade, slowly move up while picking off enemies where you can. And then once your smoke wears off, you throw another smoke grenade and you slowly move up and you keep doing that. Now granted, that's not even a foolproof strategy because sometimes the enemies decide to start chucking grenades into the smoke screens because Treyarch are a bunch of jokers who wanted us to see grenade icons in our nightmares, I guess. Screw the mission. Screw this mission. I know, I love the game, but seriously, screw this mission. At number 6, SOG in Black Ops. SOG. Compared to the other Golden Age COD games, Black Ops 1 has a relatively easy veteran campaign, except for a couple standout missions. One of them being SOG. This is one of the Vietnam missions, and you probably remember it as the Fortunate Son mission. The vibes in this mission are amazing. The immersion is perfect, but the mission itself, well, it's a total nightmare on Veteran. You'll get through some of it just fine. You'll feel good about yourself, but once you get to the section on the hill, you're screwed. You have to make your way down a massive hill with very little cover and a lot of enemies and exploding barrels because Treyarch, once again, are a bunch of jokers, and it seems like every weapon the game gives you sucks. I don't really know why Treyarch decided to give you high recoil, slow reload weapons for this section, but that is what they did. And there's also a bunch of tanks. Yeah, mission, it's rough. Now we arrive at the top 5. No fighting in the war room in COD 4. This is one of the very last missions in the campaign, and thematically it's awesome. Fighting through a Russian missile base. You're racing against the clock so you can make it to the heart of the base and stop a missile launch. But you're going up against trigger-happy Russian soldiers every step of the way, and since everything is so dark and claustrophobic, you're constantly going to be getting insta-killed whenever you walk around a corner. In any other situation, this mission really wasn't that hard because you would just take your time, inch your way through the various hallways, corridors, but since there's a timer ticking down in your face at the top of your screen, you literally can't play this mission with any kind of strategy. You have to brute force your way through it, even though brute forcing is completely unoptimal for this kind of level. The only way to succeed here is to die over and over again and eventually memorize where every enemy spawn and every weapon they have is. That's the only way to do it, and it sucked. On lower difficulties, no fighting in the war room is one of the coolest and most epic levels in COD history. On veteran difficulty, it's absolutely mind-numbing. At number 4, Downfall in World at War. Now, it seems appropriate that the last mission in World at War is also one of the hardest. Downfall portrays this big final showdown of the campaign, and while the entire thing is pretty hard, the last section is by far the hardest because you have to fight off giant groups of enemies who all spam grenades and they all have pinpoint accuracy while standing on a rooftop that has no cover, so you have to instantly react to enemies as they pop up and hope that you shoot them in time to keep them from instantly melting you with their MP40s. Oh, did I mention there's also enemies with bazookas? They'll pop up from time to time with no warning, randomly. And there's also machine gunners that have to be sniped from a distance despite you being charged constantly and flushed out with grenades. I get that Treyarch wanted this to be a big, epic final battle, but they went too far. Downfall just gets ridiculous, and believe it or not, this isn't actually the hardest mission in this game. We'll talk about that soon. At number 3, one shot, one kill in COD 4. This level starts off with a botched assassination of Zakif. I probably didn't say that right. I think I butchered that years ago and somebody told me in the comment section. Zakif? I don't know. It blows his arm off, right? Everything falls apart and you end up having to fight off an entire army of Russian ultranationalists while also carrying McMillan around and putting him down in safe places while also making sure nobody kills him while you're not looking, while also reinforcing an evacuation zone in the middle of a giant courtyard and then having to hold your position for what feels like an hour while also babysitting McMillan because if he dies at any point for any reason, you fail the mission. And the worst part of it all, at the very end of the mission, after you protected McMillan and held the evac zone for an entire period of time, you then have to make a sprint to the helicopter, and I'm sure many of you ended up getting killed while sprinting to the helicopter, and you had to do it over again. You could literally do everything right in the entire mission, then get randomly sniped while sprinting to the helicopter that takes you to the next mission. This is easily one of the hardest missions in COD history. At number 2, Heart of the Reich in World at War. Now, a lot of you probably would have put this mission at number 1, and I considered it. I understand. World at War is widely seen as the hardest veteran campaign in the franchise, and this one is universally considered to be the hardest. It's the 14th mission in the campaign, and the reasons for its difficulty are simple. The enemies infinitely respawn and they all spam grenades. Every section of grenade spam in the campaign was training for this nightmare where there is literally grenade spam coming from every single angle for about 90% of the mission, and again, everybody infinitely respawns. So it's literally not possible to thin the ranks and make the mission easier by taking out key positions or sniping people from a distance. Every time you clear out a group of grenade spammers, you have a few valuable seconds before a new squad comes in and takes their place. Hardest mission in the game, almost got number 1 today. But at number 1 today, the hardest COD mission to me on veteran has to be Mile High Club in COD 4. Shouldn't be a shocker. Mile High Club is the epilogue mission in COD 4. Some of you probably wouldn't have counted it on this list due to the simple fact that it's not part of the main story, but I'm putting it here because it's absolutely absurd. And since it's technically listed in-game as part of the campaign, I say it counts, even if it's technically the epilogue, not part of the story. Mile High Club has you breaching an ultra-nationalist airplane. You have 60 seconds to fight your way through the cabin, secure a VIP target, and parachute to safety. Oh, and when you finally get into the room with the VIP, they're going to be used as a human shield by an enemy NPC, and you have to kill them with a headshot or else you fail the mission and have to go all the way back to the beginning. It's one of the hardest missions in any FPS campaign, and here's a little fun fact for you. It was actually the first mission in the COD 4 campaign to be developed. So according to the game files, Mile High Club actually was the oldest dev completion date in the game, meaning Infinity Ward finished this monstrosity before anything else in the game, which I think that's kind of funny. If you ask me, this is the hardest veteran mission in COD history. If you actually finished it at any point in your COD career, I want you to tweet proof. I want to give you props. Circle of Trust. Tell me the truth. There you have it, my friends. Let me know 2 other missions. There's a lot of COD missions out there that were hard, that we didn't show love to today, and I'll see you soon.